You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
For over 100 years, the world has been captivated by Hollywood.
The stuff that dreams are made of.
Where stars are born.
Rated bar! Top of the world!
But just beneath the stardust lie a million more fascinating stories that, when sewn together, form an incredible history. The Secret History of Hollywood. Available now, wherever you get podcasts.
Hey there, and welcome to Fan Theory Queries, where we analyze fan theories from all over the internet, but mostly Reddit. I'm Laura.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Spencer.
And I am bringing the theory this time.
Let's do it.
We are going to be talking about another Harry Potter theory.
Back to Hogwarts.
There are so many. We could do an entire...
We could do like a whole year's worth of Harry Potter fan theories.
Which year? Year 4?
We could just do the whole whole podcast could just be Harry Potter fan theories.
That sounds
I
terrible.
would be okay with it.
Would not. We are going to have a spin-off.
We're going to have a sub-podcast.
Yes.
We would have Patreon exclusives of us playing every single Harry Potter board game.
Yep.
Spencer looks utterly miserable.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, to save Spencer some of his misery,
Thank you.
The title of this theory is The Four Founders' Secret Rooms by user Strawberry Brooks. So when the four founders, Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin built Hogwarts, they were considered to be the greatest witches and wizards of the age, yet they still had vastly different core beliefs and motives when it came to magical learning and progress. Blah, 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 you know that old tale. Naturally, this would have led them to each finding the need to create their own chambers deep within the castle, where they could practice their own powerful, arcane magic, all while running the school together. We know Salazar slithered around in his Chamber of Secrets, which was pretty exclusive to say the least. I wonder, as he slid down those pipes every day, was he brooding and deadly serious, or was he laughing like a little schoolgirl? We'll never know. Just prepare yourselves, listeners. There's a lot of alliteration in this theory, so it's going to be some tongue-twisting stuff. So Slytherin got one. I think it's safe to assume that the other three founders also had secret tree houses, and that and that Godric must have governed from his proud high tower in what later became the headmaster's office. Its entrance is literally guarded by a griffin door.
I love it.
Whose statue guard only allows the worthy to pass.
Very nice.
Can you think of another magically mind-boggling room at Hogwarts? It had to be Helga Hufflepuff, who conjured up the Room of Requirement. Don't forget, she was equally as brilliant as the rest, and pretty wicked at charms. She just cared more about helping one another, loyalty, growth, and passion. So she created a room which, if they cared enough to find it, would always fit the seeker's needs, no matter what their background or goals were. So far, the three rooms' designs and purposes fit the personalities of the founders who created them, which leaves us with Ravenclaw, the cleverest of the bunch. And get this, I don't think we ever discovered Rowena's reclusive room. She would have made her chambers just as challenging as Slytherin's to get into, if not more so. The entry would be designed as a true test of magical intelligence and wit to match her own, far beyond the silly common room riddles. But we know someone smart enough to crack it. That could have been Hermione's great arc, to be the one to find it. The lost diadem could have been hidden there, and it could have been a whole thing and part of the whole saga. Ravenclaw's room couldn't be a physical, accessible part of the castle, or else the Marauders map, or Dumbledore, or at least somebody would have found it. My best guess is that it has something to do with the moving staircases. She was credited with creating them in the first place, and it would still take an extremely gifted and curious witch or wizard years to study them to find any kind of pattern or direction to them, or a hint at what kind of magic guides them. Navigating the maze, as it were, could conjure the doorway to appear before you, or lead you into the hidden room where untold magics await. Maybe the vanishing step is the key. We'll never know. Or will we? What do you think? This is the passage about the stairs from Book 1. There were 142 staircases at Hogwarts, wide sweeping ones, narrow rickety ones, some that led somewhere different on a Friday, some with a vanishing step halfway up that you had to remember to jump. It doesn't tell us much, but it sure sounds like the perfect recipe for a test of wit. I seriously doubt that the cleverest witch who ever lived created a staircase like that on a whim, and anyone passing her on the stairs would never suspect she was on her way to her lab. Too long didn't read? The four founders each made their own secret chambers within the castle. Slytherin built the Chamber of Secrets. Gryffindor had the headmaster's office, where the secret entrance is Gryffindor. Hufflepuff created the Room of Requirement. It helps those in need. And Ravenclaw still remains undiscovered. So that's it.
So I have a question.
Yes,
There's a vanishing step that you have to remember to jump, but you didn't.
you would die.
I think you would just fall and get hurt
Yeah.
Get your
and
bones
have to
repaired.
have to go to Madame Pomfrey.
Yep.
I still have that image
Drink
of
some Skelligro.
Daniel
Gosh.
Radcliffe's arm flopping around.
That's
The
disgusting.
rubber arm
yeah.
is. I think what's worse is the sound effects they put over
Yep.
it.
Oh.
It sounds like
Yep.
Mhm.
ugh, gross.
Yeah.
So, what are you guys' initial thoughts?
The first thing that came into my mind was, why would a Gryffindor find Ravenclaw's room?
Yeah.
What do you mean by
I mean,
that?
I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be a member of the house that finds the room. I just feel like if the room is meant to reflect the founders' ideals and principles, I would feel like the kind of people who are meant to find it would share those
Well,
ideals and principles.
maybe
Yeah.
Hermione should have been a Ravenclaw.
Well, that's what I
That
was going to say.
an
She was.
argument.
It's hinted that she was supposed to be Ravenclaw. We actually had a theory about this. If listeners,
Yes.
you want to go back and listen to one of our previous episodes where we talk about how people can be,
Fit in two different houses.
can be put into multiple houses instead of just one singular one. But out of the Gryffindors that are the main characters, Hermione is the most Ravenclaw of them all,
hmm
I would say. So I would have been okay with her finding it. I don't think I would have been okay if Harry or Ron or anybody else had really found it. But
But you had Harry and Ron and Hermione find the Slytherin in Chamber of Secrets.
yeah, but I mean,
Well, and am I correct? Didn't Luna find or tell them about Rowena's not the diadem, but I feel like that she told them about something that belonged to Rowena.
she told them about the Grey Lady, which was the ghost of Rowena's, I want to say, daughter that roamed the halls or whatever.
Yes,
which
who was
she's
in
the
love with the Bloody Baron.
Yeah, and she's the one that tells Harry where the diadem is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, though, I do like the idea of what OP has said of it would be a logic puzzle of
Mhm.
having to study the patterns of the stairs
Yeah.
to find when they ended at this very odd place. And that's actually where her
Yeah.
hidden room is.
I think
That's
that's
fun.
brilliant. And I also think that in regards to their comment on it would be on the Marauders map, I think that she would have been, like Rowena would have been clever enough to put a charm on this place
the
to
room
where
of
it's
requirement
unfindable.
has a charm
Yeah.
on it that's unfindable too, I
Yeah.
thought.
Well, I think the room does show up on the Marauders map whenever it's appearing for somebody.
Right.
But other than that, it does not show up.
Right,
So,
when it's occupied.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
They have linked all of these rooms. Is this part of the theory that they're saying that these rooms that do exist are actually secret rooms created by these founders, or they just happen to exist and they're just making this connection?
So we know the Chamber of Secrets is
Slytherin.
Salazar Slytherin.
Right.
Yes, that's the only absolutely confirmed
Okay.
one, but they're taking that and applying it to these other rooms, which it makes sense that they could have originally had that purpose,
Right.
and then over time they were adapted for the other purposes that they have now.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Thanks for clarifying that for me.
Yeah, so I like this. I think that, I mean, it would make sense, because like OP said, each of the different founders had such varying viewpoints on magic and its application. And
Yes.
it would make sense, like knowing the mindsets of wizards and stuff and magical people who utilize magic in any fantasy thing. They are very particular about like, this is the way it needs to be done and stuff like that. So I think that their egos alone would cause them to want to have their own like special lab space where they can practice their own experiments and magical things and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of meat behind this theory.
Yeah.
I'm going to read some of these comments before we carry on, and then we can wrap this thing up.
That sounds good.
Hockey Dude KC says, what if Ravenclaw had the Room of Requirement and Hufflepuff had the kitchens? In response to that, OP says, I had thought that as well, but what favors Hufflepuff creating the room is that anyone could use it for any purpose, and that the requirement to getting in is just really desperately needing help. I think that if it was Ravenclaws, she would have made sure only the intelligent ones could get in, and that it wouldn't be used in ignorance or for mundane things or for evil intentions. But I like the idea of the kitchens. Hufflepuff's common room was right next door, and the house elves do seem to have the best relationship with the Hufflepuff students.
The kitchens are secret?
No. The
No.
Hufflepuff common room is next to the kitchens.
Yeah.
I think because, like the headmaster's office isn't a secret. It's not that they all have to be a secret. It's just
I
that
see.
the castle was built with the intention of it being a school, but it didn't start out big enough for all the rooms to be used for
Right.
classrooms. So they had their own rooms, and then the student body just expanded so much that they took up every room and therefore had to repurpose the founders' rooms for other things. And so
Yes.
that's what they're saying is maybe Helga Hufflepuff's room is what got repurposed into the kitchen. That's
Gotcha.
what Hockey Dude was saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's a good point, but I think OP's response negates that comment, in my opinion.
Yep.
I think they make a good point. So
They rebutted that very well.
My Amelia says, I like your theory about the headmaster's office being Gryffindor. Not only does it make sense, but I like the contrast with Gryffindor's room being at the top of the castle and Slytherin's being underneath it. Thematically, it fits pretty well.
Yeah, it
That's a good
does.
point.
Yeah, it really does. And then having the Ravenclaw one being so hard to find and difficult, like having...
Mm-hmm. And then the Hufflepuff one is just for anyone who needs it.
Yeah. I mean, it all makes sense perfectly with the theme of each house.
Definitely.
So that's a great point. Piggy the Pug says, I feel like the Hogwarts houses in these rooms all complement each other. Chamber of Secrets is the lowest point of the castle. The headmaster's office is high up in a tower. The Room of Requirement helps anyone in need and is a big secret inside the castle. So the Ravenclaw room must be either extremely hard to get into or a big secret outside the castle. Maybe the
Oh.
Forbidden Forest. There could be a link between the Albanian Forest and the Forbidden Forest. Just throwing darts now.
That is throwing darts.
Yeah, that one's a little bit too far-fetched for me.
I do like that idea, though, because, I mean, there are tunnels that go from outside of the castle in.
Yeah.
And if she-
And then there's the tunnel under the Whomping Willow.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, I mean, there could be others.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I won't completely write that one off.
Yeah.
So the last comment is from Alex David 1605. J.K. Rowling mentioned that the plumbing in the castle was introduced long after the founders died. The entrance at the time might have looked something different. It was one of the Gaunts who came to the school and hid it behind the girls' lavatories sometime during the 1800s.
Are they talking about the Chamber of Secrets entrance that got hidden
I
Yes.
guess
behind the girls' lavatory?
Yes.
they weren't very clear in their comment.
Right. But I think that's all I can think of.
Yes.
Yeah.
The castles or the entrance at the time. I think that's what they mean. The entrance to the Chamber of Secrets.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if it was called the Chamber of Secrets, I think it was still pretty much, even though they wouldn't have indoor plumbing, they would still have like a latrine or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Here's why this is confusing. It's because that was in response to I thought I put the quote in there, but apparently I didn't. He quoted part of the theory before he responded with that, which was we know Salazar slithered around his Chamber of Secrets, which was pretty exclusive to say.
Oh.
I wonder if you slow down all those pipes every day, was he brooding in easily? So basically, they're saying him slithering around these pipes in their theory couldn't be been impossible because they didn't exist back then.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't really.
Well, I mean, modern plumbing wouldn't.
Well, but
But
it doesn't
I mean,
matter.
there could still be pipes. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen pictures of ancient castles that they built like a seat for you to sit on that was up against the wall.
Yep.
And like there was nothing underneath it. So your waist just fell out of the side of the wall. You were just up on a higher level. Like,
Yep.
I mean, and it totally could have been like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Which is a great image
yeah.
to leave our guests on for
Yeah.
a break.
on that note, I think it's about time for us to rate this theory. But let's take a quick break, and we'll be back faster than you can say Salazar Slytherin slithered in his Chamber of Secrets laughing like a silly schoolgirl.
There is a corner of Los Angeles where dreams are brought to life,
The stuff that dreams are made of.
where stars are born,
Rated by Top of the World!
where legends are made.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
For For over 100 years, the world has been captivated by Hollywood. But just beneath the stardust lie a million more fascinating stories. Tales of heroism, villainy, betrayal, passion, tragedy, and triumph that, when sewn together, form an incredible history. The Secret History of Hollywood, available now wherever you get podcasts.
Laughing like a silly schoolgirl. Wow, you were right, Michael.
A lot of people don't know this about me, but I have a gift for timing word phrases with podcast ad breaks. It was just something I was born with.
Kind of like how you were born with the gift of coming up with clever rating scales and explaining them clearly.
Exactly. The highest rating that we have is genius. This is reserved for only the best theories, which we believe are better than the actual canon. The next step down is plausible. It's a good theory, it's believable. Unlikely is next. It's not a terrible theory, but pretty unlikely, as the name suggests. And then the last thing is preposterous. These are the theories that are just stupid. Basically, we're all dumber for having listened to them.
All right, so who's going to rate first?
I will.
Okay.
I like this. This is interesting. This is enjoyable. With the knowledge that I have about Harry Potter, it's much easier, I believe, for me to accept it. And so I'm going to say that this is genius. I like this theory, and I truly believe that it's possible. It's plausible in a genius way for each founder to have their secret room. I mean, if I were going to have found a castle, I would want my own secret room.
Oh, yeah.
And I would make it reflect me, just like this corner behind me is all me. And so, yeah, it's genius.
Yeah.
Laura?
I agree. This is genius. I think it's very easy for us when it comes to reading books or watching movies that are a series. We tend to think that, all right, we've discovered everything. We've solved every mystery. We found it all. But I mean, if even though this castle has been around for so long and Harry was just now discovering some things, why can't we believe that there are still things that Harry left without ever discovering? Why can't it be his grandchildren or his great-grandchildren who are finding things like Rowena Ravenclaw's room?
It can be.
So
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think OP did a great job with this theory. So I will say this is genius.
Yeah, there's no way I'm giving this anything other than genius. It's just, this is probably one of my absolute favorite theories that we've done on this podcast since the beginning. I love stuff like this. And Spencer, like you were saying, I love the idea of having secret passageways to secret rooms and stuff like that. And someday, whenever I have my own house, I'm going to have some built in.
I totally am too.
Because that would be so much fun to move a book a certain way on a bookshelf in my library and have it open a door into a private little theater for watching movies and stuff. Just, I love this concept. And like you said, Laura, OP really does a great job of laying out the details and explaining why it makes sense. And just everything about this, I feel, is genius. So that's what I'm sticking with.
Great.
Well, sounds like it's about time to bring this episode to a close. But before we do, guys, normally I come with some kind of fascinating detail I found throughout the week. I forgot to put something here for this episode.
So we get to go without one?
No. I just happened to find another one.
Why did you get our hopes up?
I just looked over at Reddit just while y'all were saying your last sentence. I found something very interesting, and it's perfect because Halloween's coming up. We have a special thing planned for the month of October. We're going to do Freaky Fridays, where every episode on a Friday is going to be about a Halloween or spooky or scary or horror movie. And then we'll have an
some
awesome
kind of horror
yeah,
IP.
Yeah, and we'll have some awesome culmination of Halloween on October 31st, where we do this epic large fan theory about a surprise. But to get everyone in the mood, I thought I would share this just to get it flipped off to my head when I saw it. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but this is by Reddit user Fuzzy Dice. Have y'all seen Nightmare on Elm Street?
No.
Okay, but you probably know the gist. And so I didn't realize that it's kind of a double meaning on the idea of the movie. In A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger kills young people who have dreams. This is also known as capitalism. Just so,
And speaking of that, please join our Patreon.
Yes.
just so no one gets any ideas, I have no problem with capitalism.
Yeah?
Our society runs on that. So
We are young people with dreams,
Yes,
too.
yes,
So please
yes.
join our Patreon.
Yes, we have big, big dreams.
yes.
Right. So with that, this has been Fan Theory Queries. I'm Laura.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Spencer. In our next episode, we ask, in the best TV show ever made, Batman the Animated Series, why does the Gotham Police Department have so much trouble controlling crime in the city? Subscribe to Fan Theory Queries so you don't miss out on that and other fascinating fan theories.
I don't understand what that is supposed to mean.
It's not supposed to mean anything. It's supposed to be a stupid thing.
And that is now the tag of the episode.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
so confused.
Fan Theory Queries is part of the Airwave Media Podcast Network. Visit airwavemedia.com to listen and subscribe to their other fine shows like Legends of the Old West, Art Smart, and Attaboy, Clarence!
There is a corner of Los Angeles where dreams are brought to life,
The stuff that dreams are made of.
where stars are born,
Rated bar! Top of the world!
where legends are made.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
For over 100 years, the world has been captivated by Hollywood. But just beneath the stardust lie a million more fascinating stories. Tales of heroism, villainy, betrayal, passion, tragedy, and triumph that, when sewn together, form an incredible history. The Secret History of Hollywood, available now wherever you get podcasts.